Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Snarf Consortium podcast. I am your host on this fair, fine, and wonderful podcast, Snarf, also goes by Peter, and we are joined by no one this week. No special guest or anyone to take word of like last week. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a solo podcast, and you're stuck with me. So, without any further ado, let's go on and talk about my week that I've had. In terms of media that I've experienced, I've started recording on four projects. I don't know if any of them are going to make the light of day anytime soon, but that's what I've been doing. One of those projects is Alan Wake 2. I'm getting back into that. I'm just completely restarting my progress with Alan Wake 2. I don't really want to try and pick up from where I left off because the first bit of recordings, like the first two sessions I had with Alan Wake 2, I wasn't quite sure of how to properly record HDR content. Now I am much more confident in how I record HDR content. Plus, I have a better streamlined way on how to get face cam as well, like a clean face cam. And following Alan Wake 2 was also Banishers of New Eden. I started both of those. I have only done about an hour of each of them, so there's not much content recorded, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to get more of that done out of the way. Other games that I've played, I finally started a new game of 2026, and that game is called Big Hops. Big Hops, you're playing a small little frog. It's a 3D platformer. It is a 3D platformer in the same vein as like Mario 64, really any Mario game that's recently come out, Banjo-Kazooie. The closest thing that I can relate it to would actually probably be Mario 64. As someone who's never really played much of Mario 64, that is the closest flavor that I'm getting with Big Hops. You're playing a small little frog. Hop is his name. It's very aptly named. And you start off in like this gorge. And it's very cutesy, very, very deceiving in what it is. Because what it's actually turned out to be, and what I'm finding, is that it requires so much precision platforming that it feels like it can get there most of the way, but problem is it doesn't feel loose. It feels pretty tight in terms of its jumping, in terms of what it's asking you to do, but it demands perfection from you at some points. It is, I won't say it's annoying. I am still having a good time with it. The main thing, so in Big Hops, I'm about, I'd say 2 hours into the entirety of that, and I hate the characters. I don't mind the main protagonist, Hop, but everyone that talks to Hop, aside from our sister, who we abandoned in a gorge at the beginning, I don't like anyone else. It's really bad and unfortunate, but that's the truth. Hop is a kid. He's a child. And you're camping with your sister in a gorge, and it's your tutorial area. It's a very basic tutorial area. It actually kind of reminded me of the Deku tree for some reason. I think it's because you climb the inside of a tree for the last little bit of it, and then you go into a forest shrine, and you start unlocking this evil, I don't know if he is evil. You unlock and find this 4-dimensional being named Dis. And he's rude as fuck to you. Like, he is absolutely rude as hell. I don't know who the voice actor is, but damn if they are not sounding like Elijah Wood in my ear. Is Elijah? Yeah, because Orlando Bloom was the elf. Elijah Wood is the Hobbit. Yeah. It sounds like an Elijah Wood knockoff. It sounds like they couldn't hire Elijah Wood for their Lord of the Rings game, so they decided, hey, let's get to the next best thing. decent voice acting altogether. Like I have no problem with any of the voice acting that I've encountered so far. All the takes seem clean. The voice direction is doing really well. The characters feel like they have depth to them. Feels like they're actually talking to you in a smart and cognitive way. But the context of what they're saying is I hate so much. And it's so bad because it shouldn't be this way. But everyone to Hop is like the rudest motherfucker on the face of the planet. No joke. Like every time you, all right, so the main thing that you're trying to do is Dis kidnaps you and throws you to a different part of the planet. So you're in a forest with your sister, you help Dis out. He's like, oh, motherfucker, I gotta pull the rug from under you. And he gets sent to a fourth dimensional being, and it's kind of like, you kind of get a taste, or at least I got a taste of like Mario Galaxy as we did that. Then we go into a desert area. That's where I am right now. And I'm trying to repair an airship to try and get home through dimensional portal travel. And every step of the way, Dis is saying like, no, you can't do that. You need to find my McGubbins. These dark blitz and bits and drips and whatever. And you need to do that. So as you're doing that, you'll get a certain amount of them, and bits will turn into drips. And the drips are the main thing that you're trying to go. They are essentially stars. But I don't know if Mario's ever done this, but it would be the same as if a Mario game gave you star pieces, and then you get like 30 of them and they're just scattered throughout the level everywhere. They're like as prevalent as coin is in any Mario 3D platformer. And once you get enough of those, you can turn them into bits. Or no, you can turn your bits into drips. I hate the naming convention of all this. These are different than the drips that you find just laying around for like. All right. So the opening area that I was in, there was a really tall tower that took some precision platforming to get on top of, and on top of it was a drip. So I was like, great. I got that, and it's like, hey, great, you found 1 of 5 in this opening area. Go look for more. However, if you look around enough, you can find the bits, and when you get enough bits to turn into a drip, you get a reward from Dis. I hate this naming convention so much. Those rewards give you little like scout badges things, and you have a backpack that you're upgrading. You can upgrade your health, I think. And there's a bunch of everyone's a different kind of animal. I've met like a raccoon. I've met like a badger, I think is what they were. I met I'm a frog. I've met a whole bunch of bunnies that are assholes. Everywhere I turn, and I mean everywhere I turn, everyone is being so mean to Hop. Hop literally, all right, Hop goes up to a character in this world, and it's an adult character. Hop is a child. Hop goes up to an adult character in this world and says, I've been kidnapped. The text that we say literally says, I've been kidnapped. The adult response is, well, that ain't none of my business. I'm just going to go back to sweeping. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? It's to go along and make sure that you have a story to go to with the game. And if you had adults actually reacting like adults should, you wouldn't have much of a video game. It's annoying as hell, but that's the plate that we've been given. It just rubs me the wrong way, I think. It really does. Everyone is so mean to Hop. And Hop is just trying his best. He's a bit of a pushover. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the choices of dialogue that Hop makes on his own, or the game railroads you into choosing for Hop to say. But Hop isn't a terrible character. I think Hop's fine. Everyone that I've met so far is an asshole. and it bothers me to no end. Like, this should just be a fun little kids game where people are enjoyable to be around. But no, some people are just mean, like downright mean to hop. It's bad. Aside from that, like, it's typical adventure game platformer stuff. I have the call to action. I'm being dragged away no matter what I say or do to that call of action, and it's happening. The platforming is exceptionally difficult. I just want to say how difficult this is, and it doesn't always seem coherent in how it wants you to go about it. One of the interesting things that the game does is it lets you, with the backpack, you can store items into it, and one of those items are like fruits you find on trees, or like, I guess they're technically called veggies, but all the veggies do something different. The first two veggies that you find are going to be a mushroom, which is just basically a portable bounce pad. And the cool thing about all these veggies is that if you can grab them off the tree, you can store them in your backpack, and then you can take any veggie you want into another area of the map that might not have that veggie originally, and use it to solve the platforming puzzle landscape that has been presented in front of you. So far, I've seen mushrooms that are bounce pads. I've seen acorns that make this really tall thing that you can climb on to go vertically up. I've encountered cactuses that shoot out like tethers that shoot out rope lines from 2 points. I've seen hot peppers. And I've seen like this gooey ball thing. All of them do very different things. It seems like there's a lot of depth to where you can go with this kind of mechanic. And I'm interested to see how it goes. I just wish that these characters would be nicer to hop. Aside from that, this week I've played... I got a game called No More Rest for the Wicked. It was free for a couple of days on Steam. I tried it out. They had a pretty good sale going on, about 40%, and I picked the game up for about $25. And I'm trying No Rest for the Wicked. It's different. It just got into a release, or they just released an update for it that is now, it's now called No Rest for the Wicked Together, because they added 4-player co-op to it. So I don't have anyone to play co-op with. But if I did, this would be a really cool game to do co-op with. It seems like it's a good mixture between the Dark Souls and Diablo-esque gameplay. You're going around, you're fighting enemies. It's weighty. You feel like a lot of weight is on you as you're playing this. And it's good. It's interesting. I'm enjoying it. It can get a little frustrating. I was playing on my PC, which is connected to a nice 144 hertz 1440p monitor, but then I'm like, oh, I want to play this on stream right now. I don't have a camera set up at my desk, so I didn't want to do it that way. So instead, I streamed my computer screen or my TV, and I came into the problem that displaying a 1440p game on a 4K TV makes it look blurry as hell. It's not great looking when you stretch a not even 2K resolution up to 4K. Doesn't look amazing. But it's as the game unlocks more and more, I'm getting my worth out of it. I would feel that I feel good. This game's always been kind of listed at the higher price on the end of like $40. I would not say it's worth $40. But I would say it's worth a good $20 to $30. 25 is right about the sweet spot for it. If you like action RPG kind of games that have a lot of weight to it. Right now I'm just rocking around with a halberd, a two-handed weapon, and I want to level up enough where I can increase my stats to the point that I can use one-handed weapons, because the halberds they're doing good. And I found the grindable dungeon area. I forget what they're called. They're not vaults, but vestiges or something. I think it starts with a V. or venues or anyway. It's a place underneath the stonemasonry house in the very first village that you encounter. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It feels like a good way to grind out some stuff there. I found a lot of new gear while doing that, so you get to keep all the stuff that you have. And if you die, I mean, it's a Dark Souls game, so if you die, you just respawn at a campfire. They're saying that you lose durability on all of your gear that you have equipped when you die, so you got to be a little careful with that, but everything I have right now is still in the high 90s, if not 80s. So gear doesn't... It's nice that I'm in it. I'm playing a game again where gear doesn't feel like it's degrading after 3 combat encounters. You can play this game for quite a bit before I would even imagine you have to start repairing your equipment. But yeah, that was No Rest for the Wicked. I also tried out very, very briefly on stream today, right before the podcast. I tried playing Highguard. Oh, Highguard was the game that was the final announcement at Jeff Keighley's 2025 Game of the Year Awards. They were the TGAs. It's from Respawn Entertainment, the same people that were originally part of Infinity Ward that brought us great titles like Modern Warfare or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 before they split off to go to EA because Activision was doing some bullshit, and then they would make this really cool multiplayer only shooter called Titanfall, and then they would go on to make a sequel with a single player campaign and some of the best multiplayer that you've ever seen with Titanfall 2. This is where Vince Zampella was from. Rest in peace. And they then went on to make Apex Legends, which EA fumbled the bag on because they thought it was not going to do anything, and it blew up to be one of the biggest games on the planet, where Fortnite was like, Fortnite stole ideas from Apex Legends, and I think that really shows you how well they did work with Apex Legends, because if Fortnite is recognize you enough as like, we need to steal every single thing that makes you unique compared to us, you're doing something right. And then they made Highguard after years and years and years of nothing new except just people are calling it the Apex Legends mines, same way that we call that it's Call of Duty mines. It's wasn't amazing. And Highguard is like this weird combination of too much. They're giving you a first-person game. It's a MOBA, kind of battle royale, mixed with Rainbow Six Siege. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I played the training bit of it and instantly knew this isn't great and turned it off. I didn't even get into one match, and I was just like, this is not my kind of game. And I was so distraught over that I load up Titanfall 2. So, and I'm recording Titanfall 2. So Titanfall 2 is going to come to the channel at some point, hopefully soon. And my God, do I miss Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is so amazing. It's so good. The movement, the shooting in it, they nailed it. Respawn nailed the way first-person shooters are supposed to move with Titanfall 2. It is so good. And the character, I will be gushing about the entirety of Titanfall 2 as we go through the campaign on the channel. It's so good. Those are the games I've been playing. I've been watching a couple of things. Mainly, I've been on a really big Stargate kick. So I've been going back through and watching Stargate SG-1. I love this show. It is like the right amount of camp and seriousness that I like in my TV shows. If you've never seen Stargate SG-1, find a way to watch it. Right now it's on Amazon Prime is how I'm watching it. I think it also used to be on Netflix before it fell off, and then it went to someplace else, and now it's on Amazon Prime. I would really like to be able to find a way to get, I think there's like 10 seasons of it. And I want to get through it, and I've only ever seen SG-1. I've seen like the first 2 episodes of Stargate Atlantis. I haven't seen either movie of Continuum or Arc of Truth, and I think it's Stargate Universe is the 3rd one. But I've only ever seen SG-1 really to any full extent. So I'm on season 3. This entire week I've just been kind of zoning out. It is a great show to sit down and watch, but also a good enough show where it can just be on in the background and I'm not going to lose anything about it. There's some story developments that I kind of vaguely remember from the first time I watched it that I didn't see on this rewatch, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. But because I'm watching on Amazon Prime, I'm also being exposed to a couple of commercial breaks here and there because Amazon Prime moved along to their thing of, hey, we're now going to break up our amazing streaming service, with ad breaks now to fund it because everyone has Amazon Prime and we can't really put ads on your Amazon Prime deliveries that are worth anything really. So instead, this free streaming thing that is just tacked on that is actually pretty good quality, I would say, we're going to put commercials in it. And there's 2 commercials that I want to talk about that appeared while I was watching Stargate. One of them is for the Switch 2. It's a college-aged boy playing Mario Kart World with his little brother at home. Nothing bad about that. It was a fine commercial. Their big thing that they were showing off was the camera, though. It was like, oh, look, this Nintendo Switch 2 is bringing families together with Mario Kart World and this camera that you can plug into your Switch 2 and then you can communicate. I think Nintendo might be stuck in like 2003 because there's no way in 2026. Hold on. These wine glasses just keep knocking against each other. There's no way in 2026 where a young adult the age of going to college that owns a Switch 2 and has a little brother at home around, I would say the kid looked like maybe 12 to 14, like preteen to teenager. How they're relying on the camera on the Switch to talk to each other. Those guys they would be using Discord at the very least, if not, like, they would just be using Discord. There's no way they would opt for the super shitty quality of maybe 15 frames a second Nintendo Switch 2 to communicate and chat with each other. Especially with, like, they showed how bad the video stream was, and it was a choppy frame rate. And then they also showed off the superb mic quality of this camera. It was not great. So it's a fine commercial. I think it showed off the Switch 2 fairly well, as much as you can. It's just knowing the alternatives and knowing the tech that would have to go into it, which is practically nothing. I think these guys would. I think if I had a little brother and I was in college and we were playing Mario Kart or whatever, we wouldn't be using the console communication. I would just call them up on my phone or go on a Discord chat or just be like, "Hey, you got a computer, little brother? You got a laptop? I know you fucking do. Just pull that out and we'll FaceTime on that through Discord or some shit." The fuck. And then if I can just be an old man for a moment, another commercial that caught my eye was Subway. Subway showing off like, oh, look at our great deal. We have the snack wrap back, and it's only $4.99. It's $5 for the snack wrap. It's so much food, and it's so amazing. And just to be an old man for a moment, do you remember when Subway was showing off $5 footlongs? and they had the amazing commercial before that was like it had a whole song about it of $5 for a foot-long sandwich. And now $5 buys you maybe a snack wrap that should cost you $1. Sad times we live in. Sad times. The value of our dollar is just shit. But yeah, aside from all that, that is practically all of my all of what I've been doing this week. Let's go on to news. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-boom. All right. To start off the news, out of IGN, I read this. Sony has announced that they are going to join into a venture with manufacturing TVs with TCL. Come March 2026, TCL will have 51% control and Sony 49% over the powerhouse that was the Bravia line. So Sony isn't getting out of making TVs, thank God, because Bravia TVs are some of the best out there even now. However, Bravia TVs are also multiple thousands of dollars. I nearly bought a Bravia TV. I actually was going over this on stream the other day. I kind of wish that I had two choices. I had the choice of going with a really nice Sony OLED TV or going with an LG. I think I have the C2, and both were really good TVs. I did go with the LG because the LG, to me, I thought I was going to want all of my ports to have the capability of 120 hertz. Now I could care less about that. Yeah, I don't care about that at all on my TV. The one thing that I do remember from when I was researching TVs is that the Sony one had better color banding. And wouldn't you know it, even though it's an OLED, looking at this, I was like, oh, I can see a lot of color banding on this LG. Granted, this LG is like 4 years old now. 2026. I bought this 21, maybe 22. I think I bought this around... Maybe I bought it as late as 23. No, I bought it in 2022. Yeah. It's about 4 years old now. And I think I would have a lot better time having an 2 inches smaller, because I think this Sony was also slightly smaller at only 75 inches instead of the 77 inch that I got with my LG. I'm still happy with my TVs. I'm fine with them. But this is interesting that they are going to go with TCL. I have a TCL TV I got a 65 inch. It was my first big screen TV when I moved out on my own. It's still kicking strong. I think it has fine picture quality, considering it's not an OLED, considering it's not an LED TV. It's just an LCD. It does the job fairly well. There's some things I wish it did better, of course, but I just use it to watch movies now. I have a area set up where I have full surround sound, and I just load up on it, and it works fine for that. Seeing now that Sony and TCL are joining together to make TVs, hopefully that brings the quality from the Sony line into the lower cost of TCL TVs, because I would like to buy another TV. I could see myself buying another TV in about 5 years. One of these TVs is bound to give up the ghost, and I'm thinking about. People are gonna hate me for this, but I'm thinking about moving my streaming setup to be a little bit, because right now I've taken over my entire living room to use my LG, and I don't want to go away from using my LG because it's the only thing that works with Windows 11 right now for some weird reason. I was having some weird issues with the TCL, oddly enough. But I wouldn't mind buying another TCL Sony or a TCL Bravia, as it might be, if it was cheap and had good quality to it and good features. So looking forward to that. Obviously, we're not going to see anything new come out of this for a year or two. But hopefully, by the time that I'm looking for a new TV, these will have hit the market and they'll be worth the investment. On to the next one. From Video Games Chronicle, multiple outlets have talked about this, but Doug Bowser, recently of Nintendo of America fame, being the president and COO, has retired. I covered that news story on my first or second episode of this podcast. Doug Bowser recently retired from Nintendo, has joined the board of directors at Hasbro. Cool. Retired man just can't stay retired. More on him later, or more on that later. Next news story is from IGN. They're talking about Hypixel Studios, or specifically Simon Collins LaFlame. He was talking about some stuff about his recent release of Hytale, right? Yeah, Hytale, the game that was so Hypixel Studios was invested in and eventually bought by Riot Games. This was back in 2020. Then in 2025, Riot didn't dissolve it, but they're like, hey, we're stopping development, we're stopping everything, we're stopping funding on Hytale. So this is like 5 years of work going, at least 5 years of work going into the game Hytale. Collins LaFlame didn't like that and eventually announced that he was successful in buying all of the rights back from Riot, and Hypixel Studios was independent once again. And Collins would go on to release Hytale to much praise and much success on early access. And following its release and success, Colin LaFlame went out to Twitter and said thus, this is a quote, "It's now been 7 days since early access launch, and I can confidently say that I have no regrets saving Hytale. It's been the most challenging but rewarding experience of my life. Thank you, everyone, for the amazing support, and a big thank you for the rebuilt Hytale team for trusting me to get this to the finish line in just a few months. I haven't been involved with Hytale development for many years, and coming back was a big unknown and risk for me and my family. I fully trusted the people, and it just worked. Amazing team. Every single one made a big difference." Big clap to you, Mr. Simon, or Mr. Simon Collins LaFlame. It's really, really nice to finally start hearing studios buying rights back from IP holders for the work that they've slaved away at for multiple years of their life, and not have it just flushed out the drain and be like, well, we invested millions of dollars into this and we have nothing to show for it. Them's the tickets. I know some games just don't get through the finish line. I know there are a lot of reasons and a lot of things that can go wrong with game development and just development in general, where some projects will just die. But I would rather see more things like this, where if a developer like Riot or a larger developer in that same role doesn't want to get this over the finish line, try and find a home for someone that will get it through the finish line. Because I think it's better, even if you're going to release a game that doesn't have amazing success, I think it's still better to get some of those things released out there. Release more things. Don't kill people's work. So, really happy to see that the release of Hytale is really kicking off and showing off well for Simon. All right, news that I missed last week. I think it started hitting right after I had finished my recording, and that is Ubisoft has announced that they will be restructuring, a process that brings with it news of at least 6 games being canceled, including their much anticipated Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. The other games we do not know, but they said specifically that the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake is canceled. 3 of the canceled new games were supposed to be new IPs. One of those being a mobile game. With the restructure, the company will be focusing on what they say are open world games and live services. Following this announcement, Ubisoft shares have dropped 33%, being the lowest in multiple years. Yeah. More on Ubisoft soon. Over to Eurogamer. Arknight's Enfield just released, and boy, is it a gacha game. And boy, I hope you have your money I hope this is a really bad story. People have connected their PayPal accounts to Arkfield and Knights and have woken up to their accounts being suspended for suspicious activity. And for some people, their entire balances were wiped. Not in Arknight Enfield. No. What was wiped was their entire account balance in PayPal. Purchases that they did not approve of were made in Arknight's Enfield and is connected to PayPal. So thousands of dollars were purchased without the authorization from the account holder. This is horrible, absolutely horrible. And the developer behind Arkfield and Knights has this to say. We want to sincerely apologize to everyone affected by the PayPal payment issue that occurred shortly after launch. We understand how upsetting and concerning this kind of situation can be, especially when it involves purchases and personal payment details. They continue. Here's what we want to clarify and share with you. All affected PayPal purchases will be fully refunded. We've already begun processing refunds for impacted orders. We do not store players' payment information. Payment details are handled directly by PayPal and are not saved in our systems. The issue only affected some players on certain platforms when using PayPal. As soon as we became aware of the problem, we disabled PayPal payments within roughly 2 hours of launch to prevent any further impact. At the moment, PayPal payments will remain unavailable while we continue to investigate the root cause together with our partners. We won't re-enable the payment option until we're confident the issue has been fully resolved. We're truly sorry for the stress and inconvenience this caused, and we're grateful for your patience while we work through this carefully. If you have additional questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. How the fuck does this happen in the first place? That's my question. Good that they are actually, good thing that they're not dragging their feet. Good that they're being proactive, it sounds like, on getting people their fucking money back, as they should. But if I needed another reason not to play Arknight Enfields, aside from it being a gacha game that I'm just not really into, this is a hell of a reason not to get into it. All right, out of Eurogamer, the Stop Killing Games initiative has reached their goal for signatures with nearly 1.3 million verified signatures. Per the leader of this movement, Ross Scott, he went on to Twitter, and I am quoted in saying this, or he is quoted in saying this. We have cleared the requirement, and the next phase will be officially submitting them to the EU Commission in Brussels, probably sometime late February. For those that may not know, that are hearing it here first, which I would be exceptionally surprised to hear that, this initiative is only to prevent the disabling of video games by publishers before they are able to provide a reasonable means to continue functioning without the publisher's involvement. The original game that sparked Mr. Ross Scott, aka Accursed Farms on YouTube, to action was Ubisoft's title The Crew, and in which the servers were taken down, making the game unplayable to be played despite it being a retail product and not a live service game that was free to play. A recent example to also show this off would be EA's Anthem, and an example for the future, which may or may not come to pass, hopefully it doesn't, is Amazon Games' New World Aeternum. Yeah, Stop Killing Games. I think it's a great initiative. I hope that it's glad to see that they got their signatures. They needed 1 million signatures, and it looked for a long time like it wasn't going to happen. And then drama came about, and a streamer lost all of their credibility and brought so much more spotlight to it. And may that streamer never come back. Pirate Games. Yeah. They're a lot bigger than me. They're a lot more successful than me. So whoever Pirate, I forget his name is. But the way he handled talking about stop killing games, whoo, that killed his career. Yeah. So I hope the EU Parliament in Brussels looks at this and actually takes some serious steps for having these things brought into place, because I really do agree with Ross here, with Ross Scott's opinion, that if you buy something, it shouldn't be taken away from you. And I think this really goes back into the earlier story that I was talking about with Hytale Game. It's a shame when games get killed, be it pre-launch or post-launch. It's a real shame when they get killed regardless, because it took a lot of time for people and a lot of investment of their own personal lives and just pure man hours to make it into a product that it is. And it's nice to see when those don't go away, and that I think there should definitely be protections in place to preserve these pieces of content for the foreseeable future. All right. I just have two more news stories. Red Hook Studios, creators behind the game Darkest Dungeon and Darkest Dungeon 2, have announced that their board game of the Darkest Dungeon, which was kickstarted a couple of years ago, can no longer be produced due to the liquidation of the company Mythic Games. The studio has profusely apologized to fans, with the release of the Wave 2 of the board game being canceled. So, looking into this, Mythic Games was the producing side of, Red Hook Studios, makers of the game, hold the IP for Darkest Dungeon. They held a Kickstarter to make a board game of Darkest Dungeon, and that went through. Awesome. I think it got like multiple millions of dollars, which is great. If people want that, people should get that. They had a first wave of putting the games out, so everyone in that wave got their official copy of Darkest Dungeon 2, the board game, or Darkest Dungeon, the board game. Great. I want to look this up and see what it looks like on the board game, because it sounds interesting. Wave 2 was met with some heavy problems, though, because Mythic Games was falling behind, and Red Hook went on to say, hey, we can't get them out of their financial troubles without putting ourselves into financial trouble. We're not doing that. We're sorry for this. And a ex-Mythic Games employee reached out to Red Hook Studios and was asking, because they were also very apologetic, we fucked up here. And they said, we want your permission to distribute files to the backers of this board game so that they at least get something for the thing they paid for, because they're not getting the thing they paid for. It's a weird situation, because technically it's fraud, but it's not fraud, because these people that kickstarted it, the only ones that got and were fulfilled were in the wave one. And I don't know how many games were produced in that first wave, but they're the only people, and everyone else that has yet to receive it is technically got bamboozled into paying for something for a successful Kickstarter that isn't going to bear fruit. Now, the Mythic Games, which is now no longer a company, this ex-employee reached out, and with the permission of Red Hook Studios, is able to distribute all of the files. So everyone that was backed the game that has not attained a copy of the board game will instead be given all project files for the game to be used in a non-commercial use. I will now read a quote from Red Hook Studios. All backers should have now received an email from the board game campaign, which outlines the entire situation. This email also contains a link to all game files, including files of the rules, 3D models, and more for you to download and use on your own time. So that's cool. That's about the next best thing. It's a damn shame that all those people aren't going to get the board game itself. That makes the initial wave of the board game exceptionally more valuable. But hopefully people aren't going to be looking at that and be like, oh, I'm going to scalp that. Which they can't really scalp it because they're the ones that bought it in the first. It's not scalping. But it's a rare piece of kit right there. So it's good that Red Hook Studios is doing the best they can, and that ex-Mythic employees are also doing the best they can with the situation that they have been involved in right now. So good on them for trying to salvage what they can for the people that didn't get what they paid for. Because if they didn't, they'd be getting sued. Let's be honest here. All right, final story. Hey, you remember when I said that we were going to talk more about Ubisoft? Well, now's the time to talk more about Ubisoft. Ubisoft worker unions are ready to strike following the company's restructuring initiative, as Ubisoft is planning to let go nearly 20% of their Paris HQ employees. This would be about 200 positions. Yeah, Ubisoft workers of France, fucking go on strike. You should. You're about to lose your job. What the fuck is wrong with Ubisoft right now? Everything is wrong with Ubisoft right now. It's burning to the ground. It's amazing that they haven't gone bankrupt already. Yeah, these are the same people that said, like, hey, we're not going to be making these games because we just don't think that they're up to the same par. And they're like, bullshit. But by the way, we're going to fire 200 of you from the Paris HQ. This is after they dissolved the Halifax studio that recently got unionized. Horrible things all around with Ubisoft. Ubisoft just, I would say they can't catch a break, but that would be them breaking their own ankles. Yeah. That's it for the news. If you have an email, or I would go over to emails, and I will just look at my emails again real quick, refresh those. Hey, nothing's popped in. So if you have an email or a question that you want to send to the podcast for me to read live on air when I record this, or to listen to on the podcast after I edit and upload it, the email address is snarfpod@gmail.com. That is, again, snarfpod@gmail.com. I gladly wait any questions that you have for me to answer on this podcast. But with that said, I am going to now go over and edit this podcast out, hopefully to get it up by tomorrow. That would be January 28th. And I'll see you guys next week. That would be February 3rd. See you guys then. Hopefully so going live on the channel right now is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I'm hoping to have a little bit of Big Hops go live this week. If not Titanfall 2, I think I still want to hold on to Alan Wake 2 and Banishers of New Eden. Or maybe I'll just be editing all of them willy-nilly and throwing them on the channel. But you should be seeing at least more Peace Walker, as well as some other stuff going live this week on the channel. So go over to YouTube, check it out. That is what is my YouTube channel? I should know this off the top of my head. I don't. That is the Snarf Consortium. If you just search in YouTube the @Snarf Consortium, you'll be able to find me there. I am, of course, here on Twitch at Snarf Consortium, or twitch.tv/Snarf Consortium. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't remember what my Blue Sky handle is, but I can find that out real quick. It's of course all linked down below in the show notes. And why is my Blue Sky? No, Blue Sky is signed in. Blue Sky is snarfconsortium.bsky or bsky.social. See me over there. I sometimes post. I am really bad at posting, but I sometimes post. And this has been the Snarf Consortium podcast, episode 6. No more of that counting up from 0 bullshit, because websites don't like that. See you guys next week. I'm out of here.